Hey, it's Domi, the editor. I'm just popping in here real quick to give you a gentle reminder that this episode is a continuation of the last episode of Moosestuck. The recording session went a little long, and so we decided to just chop it up into 2 parts. Be sure to go give that one a listen before you jump into this one. Okay, thanks. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Trickster mode.
Yeah. Yep.
Trickster mode.
More amazing music.
Just the worst fucking music. I fucking
Mario
hated
Paint
this.
sound fonts.
Yeah, this is when Toby Fox is used for evil. Because I don't know if you have the mod or extension or whatever on that shows the song title and everything.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so this is Toby Fox used for evil. Is the fucking trickster mode bullshit. Jane is the first trickster mode. She goes off and she fucking kicks Jake and the Nards off a cliff to turn him trickster mode. And they're like, cool, let's get married and have babies. Great. Our personal problems are solved. Then they go off to find Roxy, who's like, fuck. Hey, Condi, help me. Condis, Batterwitch, help me.
You made
Yeah.
You made this grave, now lay in it.
Yeah, it's like fucking DWI and deal with it. It's so fucking funny. Like, I know you escaped. I know you're fucking off doing your own thing. You're about to get caught up in some bullshit that ain't none of my business. I love it.
Are there people who have trickster sonas?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think a bigger thing is seeing what other characters would look like in trickster mode besides the ones we see. But yeah, trickster sonas are definitely a thing. Not as a big of a thing as some other stuff. Yeah, just figuring out like what candy or whatever would pop on your head, or in Dirk's case, a soda can.
Yeah.
But they get Roxy by fucking Jake summons a what pumpkin and smashes it on her head. And she turns trickster mode, and they're like, cool, let's all get together and have babies. And Jane's like, well, I called dibs, so me first. I just love how, like, even in trickster mode where all your problems are supposed to be solved, Jane's still a little jealous. Little territorial. And then they go up to Dirk, who just is having none of this bullshit. He's like, oh God, what the fuck? And they try to do the same thing. And, oh, I forgot, fucking Dad Crocker sees them having a party out the window. Stern fatherly disapproval. Fucking great. So this conversation between Roxy and Dirk is so, like, it's like surface level funny, but like deeper level kind of like heart-wrenching. Like, Dirk actually has some fucking issues during all of this because everyone's like coming at him trying to fix shit, and he's just not about that. Because, with Jake's like, hey, sorry, I was feeling kind of bad, but now I feel great. Let's just all get like multi-married together and it's all gonna be fine. And Dirk's like, what the fuck? No. And breaks it off. I thought I quoted this.
I mean, when Dirk was resisting trickster mode, I did write down Arqueous Sprite saying, we both know you're never going to be happy under ordinary circumstances.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, the argument with Jake comes after he is trickster mode, because before it's with Roxy. But yeah, no, that fucking thing by Arqueous is like the thing that finally convinces him to give in to Roxy, who is like, fuck it, it doesn't matter that you're gay. It's like, we're just gonna get married and it's fine. And it's just like, did you know I love you? Did you know I want to get married and have babies? And Dirk's like, yes, you've told me that almost every fucking day. And it's just like, people like to follow everyone else and put Roxy up on this kind of pedestal. But like, Roxy was basically sexually harassing Dirk for the majority of the time they knew each other, right? I'm not saying Roxy is an evil, terrible person. It's just like, we'll talk about it a bit more like post trickster mode, but like, that fucking sucks to be Dirk and just have like one of your best friends just be like, so we should totally get married and have babies, JK LOL, but unless.
Yeah.
But there is like just so I'm not serious about these characters canonically being trans, but I do like to point out little trans quote unquote proof where Roxy says, screw your anime sword, marry me, and have my babies. Which is just like, yes, because they're both trans, so it would be Dirk having the babies in this scenario.
Cool.
Fucking hilarious when Dirk says, I'm too fucking cool for this. Like, what a nerd thing to say, that you're too fucking cool for it. And then Dirk decides to give in and let Roxy smooch him, and he's fucking unaffected by it. Even when he tries to be overcome by this sugar rush, he simply cannot stop being his fucking self. And he only physically appears trickster mode. And that's when he gets into the screaming match with Jake. Well, not really screaming match, but the argument with Jake. And says, you act like I don't have feelings, like I'm some kind of robot. Well, you're wrong. I do. And I cry again. And I say this is also directed at the fandom, who I can't believe managed to read this act and still decide that Dirk was an emotionless manipulator who was abusive to Jake. But there's been a lot of games throughout Trickster mode that were just the most obnoxious games you could have.
Yeah, I mean, I have made games exactly like this, though. Like Sand Counter Extreme.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, you showed me that. But
yes.
Yeah, did you complete all of them?
I think I did.
Yeah.
Because I definitely did the 1,111 scooches to the right game.
I was pressing that, like, tapping at first, and then I found out you can just hold it down. I was like, oh shit, hell yeah. They're just having a fucking time. I just love how done with it Dirk is. And then Dirk dumps Jake. And yeah, I mean, like, Jake was about to dump Dirk. He was just taking his fucking time getting around to doing it. It might have taken another 3 months or 6 months or however they were long. But so Dirk just finally did it. And Aerosol and Arceus get into an argument trying to talk to Fafetta, and Fafetta explodes. So my theory is Fafetta was way more of a singular person than Aerosol and even Arceus is. In the fact that, like, she did not have necessarily those separate parts that, Aerosol was like, part of me is trying to apologize to you for this, but only to the Feferi side of you. While Arceus was like, okay, well, I'm ignoring the Feferi side, the Nepeta side needs to talk to me. So I can apologize to you. And I think that was just, like, not only, like, the splitting attention of two people arguing at you or trying to apologize to you at the same time, or really three people, because both the Aridin and Solix part of Aerosol were trying to talk to the fairy. But I think that, like, genuinely she was more of a singular person and then exploded.
Just sensory overload.
Sensory overload. You know how it is when you're dead Morale and Mate Sprite and ex Morale are trying to talk to you at the same time while arguing with each other.
Yeah, I mean, this is just how I feel when my friends, like 5 kids, all try to talk to me at the same time.
God, yeah, Jesus Christ. I can imagine. I've not had 5 kids try to talk to me at the same time, but Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then so this was Act 6, Act 5, Act 2 of the Trickster mode stuff. And we go back to Act 6, Act 5, Act 1. And Caliborn is fucking pissed. He loved Trickster mode.
It's his cultural heritage.
It's his cultural heritage because cherubs are not a social species, so it's a lot easier for them to just switch a flip and go like, all of my personal problems are fixed. Everything's fine. Well, for humans, that's fucking disastrous. You simply cannot do that, especially with teenagers. And there is some foreshadowing, intentional or not, in this conversation between him and Hussey. You'll have no idea what. I mean, I don't want to tell you because I don't want it to be too
shadowed.
Yeah, I don't want you to be looking for it, I guess. I don't want you to be it's gonna happen sooner rather than later, I think. So it's fine. It's just like I did originally write down the quote like in my notes. You just don't get that.
I have to check the Google Docs history.
No, I wrote it physically in my notes.
Oh, okay. Have to come steal your notebook.
Yeah, you have to go steal my notebook. Yeah, there's just a lot of arguing. You mentioned more about what he was doing than what I did. Like, you mentioned more about their fucking alchemy binge, the trickster alchemy binge of all the weird ass legendary weapons and the Santas and stuff.
They got their stuff made, I suppose.
But yeah, Caliborn and Gamzee do shit with the keys. Caliborn has to use teamwork and turn the key at the same time as Gamzee. And that unlocks the screen of all the sacrificial slabs, because they're not called quest beds. I think they're called sacrificial slabs that the kids are on as they're having the worst hangover of their lives.
Yeah. It's like team bonding via physical misery.
Basically, except not all of them are talking to each other
Yeah.
because they're convinced that the other person's mad at them. Because they're teenagers. And this is so funny when you have like a big screen, because like there are two like separate, what would normally be like a panel that you would click to the next screen, but they're next to each other. So you click the one and it just scrolls over to the other. But if you have a wide enough screen, it does nothing because you can see them both at the same time.
Yeah, I just opened it up wide ways. I thought that was supposed to do that.
Yeah, no, I mean it's fine. It's just like it's a big screen. But yeah, so we'll have the two conversations sometimes happening simultaneously, and sometimes it's just the continuation of the conversation to the next screen, which I feel is it could have been better if they had been two different conversations. But the conversations are between Jake Roxy, Roxy Jane, and Dirk Jane. And while they're having the conversations, Gamzee has sent Jack, who is in Prospect Jail, shit to get out, and also Lil Cal. And he stares into Lil Cal's eyes and gets brainwashed. At the same time, we're seeing Caliborn stare into Lil Cal's eyes because he realized that Lil Cal is fucking great.
So you can brainwash people through the little Cal stare.
Yeah, and they're showing these two things happening simultaneously, of Caliborn staring into Lil Cal while Jack is staring into Lil Cal. But these are like two different versions of Lil Cal, because you can tell by the outfit they're in. And I think, based on future stuff you'll find out about Lil Cal, I think that there is a lot that happens between these two events. Like they might be happening simultaneously, but this is a future version of Lil Cal. And, well, I guess realistically, Caliborn has a past version of Lil Cal.
Is Cal the name supposed to tie into Caliborn and Calliope?
I think so. I think that just happened to be what happened, but I mean, it's gotta, right? But I don't know that for sure. It's just like, it's gotta. So it is showing it as though like the Lil Cals are connected, and Caliborn is like brainwashing Jack through the vessel of Lil Cal, which I don't know, maybe it's happening. That's how I wrote it up in my notes, but I think we'll have a better explanation of that later. And by better, I just mean they're not going to exposition dump it like they did other things, I don't think. But there are going to be further explanations about Lil Cal.
Oh, really? It's not going to be 5 big walls of text?
No, not for Lil Cal, I don't think, unless I just completely ignored it because I don't like Lil Cal. But yeah, so the kids are just having the fucking heartfelt conversations, some more Dirk moments about how, like, no, I didn't get fed up with Roxy always hitting on me. I felt guilty because I couldn't give her what she wanted from me. And like, that's a fucking sad gay thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, that's tragic. Just like, oh yeah, a gender I'm not attracted to is hitting on me, and I'm just, yeah. He and Jane bond over being obsessed with Jake for no goddamn reason, except he's like the only good target of affections. Because Jane is supposedly straight, Roxy's supposedly straight, Dirk's gay, and so that just leaves Jake, who gives some like who has like a little aromantic moment, and just like this is the moment where everyone headcanons Jake as well, not everyone, but like a lot of people headcanon Jake as aromantic, because he's like, I don't think I'm ever going to feel the same, like as strongly for people like you feel for Dirk.
Yeah, that's kind of how I read that too.
Yeah. We love him aromantic Jake. Another foreshadowing moment that you don't get to know about, that I'm not sure how intentional it was. Like the other one, I could see it being intentional. This one, I'm really not sure. I would lean it to be not being intentional, but I don't know. We can discuss that way later, just at the end.
At the end of Homestuck?
Pretty much at the end of Homestuck, we'll come back to this one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while. The other one we'll get fairly soon, but this one's gonna be a while. I forgot how close Roxy was to getting her, like, quote unquote actual mom back, because she had gotten the goo, the Alpha Rose goo, like she had
Hmm.
gotten that, and she was planning on prototyping it into her sprite before Fafetta was created. And I missed that entirely when I read it before. I forgot about it or something. But why do I not see AUs where Fafetta didn't exist, but Alpha Rose did?
Hmm.
That would be crazy. Like, I get everyone loves Fafetta. I think I don't know. I think that Fafetta. I get that people love Fafetta, and I think it's very interesting. But the fact that we never see her talk, there's only references to her talking. I feel like if I had more media literacy analysis under my belt, I could say something about it. But it feels very lampshady isn't the word, but it's just something that it feels more objectification, not in like a sexual sense, but just in like she is there for people to talk
Mm.
at her and not be her own person,
Yeah.
you know? So I like Fafetta on one level, but I just don't like her on a meta level, I guess.
I mean, isn't that what a pet cat is after all? Just something
Yeah,
to talk to and meow at.
yeah, pretty much. She's a fish cat. She's a catfish.
Ah.
Goodness gracious. So they're doing other talking, and Dirk's having this whole thing about how, you know, they have a live player who's in a doomed session on a planet filled with skeletons, like just completely devoid of life. A hopeless hope player, a heart player who's a stone cold motherfucker, which I don't know. People use this for a lot of meta about the alpha kids, but I think Dirk is giving himself. I think he's just really fucking hard on himself in this moment. I don't think
Yeah.
he's a stone cold motherfucker. He has proved this throughout the rest of the act that he is not that. He is very, very emotional, and it is other people who put that persona on him, partially because of how,
And also those sunglasses.
and also just those
You're just like,
sunglasses.
he must be too cool.
He does say he's too cool for this. But I don't know. I I just feel like Dirk is saying that about himself at the same time he's saying a lot of other negative shit about himself. And I
Mhm.
don't like that people use this for like people pin a lot of their meta to that line. And I don't like it.
Mhm.
But
I mean, I can be insecure as hell and also understand that I am the coolest person in the world.
yeah, yeah, he definitely is. But just how like they were supposed to be these heroes, they were supposed to do these adventures, but their whole thing is waiting. They don't have any adventures they can do. Their session is void.
Mhm.
They legitimately can't do anything just because their session's inherently fucked. And now they're just sitting and waiting to die because Dirk will never be able to kill Roxy. And they're all just like, going to have to either kill themselves or just wait for someone else to do it, which they don't have to wait
Luckily.
long because Jack goes crazy. This version of Jack goes fucking crazy. First blasts Prospect and then blasts Prospect's moon at the same time. Condi blasts Durst's moon. And so they all die and come back as God tier
Mhm.
and face off against Condi and Jack. But then Jade shows up, breaking through the fenestrated plane that Jake had at the beginning of this act.
Mhm.
And first goes to see Jane and Jake and teleports Jack away somewhere else. But then she gets mind controlled by Condi because both because Condi has the blue blood, the Vriska blood, but
Mhm.
cerulean, that's Vriska's blood color is cerulean, mind control powers, and the bronze blood animal mind control powers, and is able to use those on Jade to turn her into what is dubbed as Grimbark Jade.
Grim bark.
Yeah, like a play on Grimdark
Mhm.
Rose, it's Grimbark Jade.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I was thinking of a tree bark for some.
Oh, no, because she's a dog.
Yeah.
And then Jade uses her powers to put the brainwashing tiara on Jane, who then becomes under Wakanda's control. I forget what they call this version of Jane, if it's just like the heiress or something.
I don't know.
I meant to ask Nami before we started, but it is what it is. Because Nami's
Tommy,
also
save us.
because Nami's also the Jane expert. Nami loves Jane so much. Because she just chooses to fight the worst battles. Fucking no one cares about Jane and no one likes the little cow.
She's called Crocker Tier Jane. Also, I fight these battles because they're very fun.
But yeah, and so then Jade teleports Dirk to where Jack is to get him out of the way and kidnaps Roxy while Jane kidnaps Jake. And then the act ends.
That part was all very confusing to me, like reading the battle type of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you explained that.
Okay, I'm glad because a lot did happen back to back, and it like at first I was like, wait, where the fuck did Jade come from? And then I'm like, oh yeah, they showed the crack in the fenestrated plane, duh. So even someone who's read this a billion times, because when I first read it, I'm just like, I'm accepting whatever's happening. I'm not trying to think about it.
Yeah.
But shit is popping off. I will tell you that. Shit is popping off. So that's extremely exciting of what we're about to get to. We're about to get to where I caught up to the comic.
Where we reset and introduce another set of kids.
Yes.
The Gamma kids.
we're getting close to the Gigapause.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I just did the math of, besides, we haven't read the intermission for this part, but for Act 6, the Act 6/6s is like 1,880.
Christ.
From just like, which is not that much.
Is it not?
Because when we started Act 6, that's like, first page is 4,113.
Yeah.
Last page is 8,130. So we were like halfway through at the beginning of Act 6/1, but 6/61 is at 6,243. So it's like halfway between.
Yeah. I'm just so excited because like this is where things stop being so slow from what I remember. Like we're still going to have some slow moments. A lot of this next bit is kind of like, I feel like a rush to the end from what I remember.
The last 1/4 of the whole story.
The last 1/4 of the whole story is where it really picks up. There's some exciting parts throughout it too. I don't know. Like I said, there's still some slow moments, but I think they're more like a nice break between action than the focus of a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is your reward for sticking through yet another group of kids getting into the game.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts?
I don't know what the intermission will bring, but maybe 6/61 will finally get all the kids together.
We'll see.
For the first part of Homestuck, I was like, when are we getting all the kids together? And then they were together, and then there were more kids.
There are more kids that also need to get together. Yeah. No, we got one kid in there, and if Jade's here, that means John's got to be here too, somewhere, right?
I don't know.
Well, because they were on the ship together. Because they were on the ship together that came through the plane.
I thought she got like stuck in between the fenestrated planes at one point. I don't know if she got out of that or not.
Well, because they were on the boat between the two planes, and so the fact that she's here now and like you saw the hole in that plane means that they broke through the other side. So now that ship, the implication is that ship is now in the in this new session with the kids, unless she broke out ahead of the ship.
Okay. Was she not trying to get through, like get away from somebody through a window at some point? I don't remember.
I don't think so. I mean, people have been trying to get away from people through those windows for a while. Like, that happens often enough. I'm not sure about Jade specifically. It's been a while since we read the last section. This is the longest it's taken me to read Homestuck since I read it the first time. Since, it was still ongoing. It's wild. Usually I blast through Homestuck in like a month or two. But yeah, this has been over a year that we've been reading Homestuck.
Yeah.
It's wild shit. But we're getting so close to the end. It's still going to be a while. Like fucking so much is about to happen. So, Trickster Mode. Would you lick the sucker?
For the aesthetic reasons or for the emotional reasons?
Either or both.
I would go for the aesthetic reasons. But also, I'm the type of person who's never been drunk or high, so I generally don't want to like partake in any substances that are going to change my brain.
Fair enough. You would just have to hope you're a Dirk.
Yeah. Be just too serious for everything.
Yeah.
I would just be here like, you guys, there's still climate change happening. We need to get what are you even happy about?
I think if the problems they were focusing on were climate change, they would just go blow up buildings, you know? Like their interpersonal conflicts were solved by getting married. Like that was
Yeah.
their solution for that. And I feel like the simplest, like most direct, not permanent solution for climate change would just be to blow up a bunch of buildings.
So you're saying we should go blow up a bunch of buildings?
No, that's the opposite of what I'm saying.
It is the official position of Live Laugh Stuck that you should not go blow up any buildings, especially not to solve climate change. We've got other solutions for that. Call your senator or something.
The kids were so close to figuring out about polyamory. But they failed.
Yeah, I mean, they could be a like big queer platonic / slightly not platonic group relationship and just play video games together.
Have you watched the Gay and Wondrous Life of Caleb Gallo?
I have not heard of that.
It is a YouTube series. You have got to fucking watch it. I'm going to send you the link to the first episode. It is just, it's very like mundanely gay, but also really fucking weird gay. Like it's so great. And there's this one point where they meet these two lesbians, like, we're lesbians, and that's our like boyfriend who is in a like romantic, non-sexual, like they just have like this wild description for like the one guy in their like triad. Is like, we don't fuck him, but he's part of this relationship.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. The Gay and Wondrous Life of Caleb Gallo is just, I highly recommend people watch it. You've probably seen memes on it if you're a big internet person. It's very, very good though. I might remember to link it in the description of this episode, but who knows? That's just what that reminded me of, is like this, you know, semi-platonic fucking polyamory, like whatever, you know, just queer up in this bitch. I think I would try Trickster Mode just because like I am not someone who's abstained from the entry level drugs of choice. And I think I'd really like to try a psychoactive. I just have to like make sure it's not going to fuck with my current meds, you know? There's this one that's currently legal. Like it's basically legal shrooms, but it's like you know, not actually a shroom. But it is, the ingredients are proprietary information. So I can't look up if it's going to have any reactions with my meds, because they're like, well, just don't have it then, because we're not going to tell you what's in this. And I'm like, well, that fucking sucks.
That's kind of sus.
That is sus, but they just don't want anyone to know, and they're not currently regulated by the FDA or anything, because, you know, it's like people who come up with new drugs, and like, how long is it until the FDA says this is illegal, you know? But yeah, so I think I'd just like to try it just to see. I do wonder if I would just be a Dirk. If you can't tell, I relate a lot to Dirk. My fucking handle, one of my handles on Twitter is Dirkification. That's also one of my handles on Tumblr. And then I found a blog that was on Dirkification, because apparently they wanted Dirkification, but I already took it. Then there's also the case of Jake's page outfit, where Jade is like, where's your fucking pants?
Yeah, I remember that now.
Like, the thing about Jake is he is very, oh god, people put this in a much more eloquent, like, media analytics analysis way that I'm going to, but like, he is the not like other girls girl action hero. Like, he is the one who gets sexualized and everyone like is obsessed. Like, he is the love interest, right? And like, him being in these fucking like page shorts is just part of that. This fucking page speedo.
And the Laura Croft outfit.
Yeah, right. Like, he is Laura Croft coded. Like, this is why like a lot of people have like trans femme Jake headcanons and trans mask Jane headcanons. More people need to have trans Jane headcanons. Like, I get that Butch Jane is also fun, but it's equality, you know? But personally, I don't have either of those headcanons. I just think they're interesting, and I think there's a lot of. I think it's more for me. It's more interesting to see it as a thematic level for Jake than gender, but I understand the gender part of it.
Mhm.
I mean, and then now he gets kidnapped by Jane. Like he is a damsel in distress, right? Jake's really interesting if you ignore a lot of the hussy bullshit around him.
What kind of hussy bullshit around him?
I don't know. It's just I guess I'm thinking of a lot of shit that happens in stuff that's not strictly in Homestuck. Like in the there are the I think I've talked about it before, but there were the like lore documents released on New Year's Eve in 2019
Mhm.
that were hidden on a website that were being written while Homestuck was being written, so they're considered more canonical by a lot of people because it was like lore that Hussey was writing down to understand how the universe worked, but it's
Mhm.
fucking terrible. Like
Oh.
it's pretty clear that it was written during this. It gets anti-Semitic. It's just more proof
Oh,
that
jeez.
Hussey hates Jake. It's just got some weird shit going on with it.
Mhm.
Jake is like the Prospect family is related to Obama in this. Like, it's something.
Why are you like this, hussy?
Guy Fieri is named after Faferi.
Yeah, I think I remember that maybe or something.
Yeah, I might have mentioned that before, but it's a whole lot. It's a whole lot of stuff, which it was taken down and Hussey apologized for it. Yeah, apparently it was a case of like he asked other people if it was like cool, and they told him it was a piece of shit, and he thought it was like the he thought it he thought it was like the friendly like haha yeah your stuff's so shit, just the ribbing because apparently that's just how they all it happens like that's just the sort of
Mm.
friendship environment they have. And so the friends came out and like, no, sorry, we should have been more clear with Hussey that it was like actually bad, like actually a
Oh,
thing that they shouldn't have published. Like it's not necessarily badly written; it's just bad, right? Like it's problematic as a term that
yeah.
gets used too much, but like in a genuine sense, it is problematic.
Mhm.
But like anyway, but it's just and then there's just a lot of like Jake bullying that ends up happening as it goes on. Like this Caliborn bullying Jake is just going to get worse. Like Jake
Mm.
is very much a stand-in for Tavros in a lot of situations. Like is a Tavros, you're not even parallel, but just like a it feels like so Hussey had the ideas for these alpha kids existing since like at least like Act 2, Act 3. I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure, but I have to imagine that Tavros funnel like Tavros' existence got into Jake's characterization a lot.
Okay.
So it's just some stuff, but there's a lot of interesting stuff to pull out of it. Like Jake comes off as dumb a lot, and some people like to say he's not dumb. He's sassy. Look at this proof. But I'm like he is also dumb about shit, and shit goes over his head. But also when he's talking to Caliborn and is like that sounds gay. What does gay mean? Like really
Mhm.
happy. It's like yes, it is very gay indeed. Then I think that is very much there are definitely moments where Jake is very kind of sassy and sarcastic in that way. And I think a lot of him being sassy does get taken by parts of the fandom to sound like he's just an idiot, but sometimes he is just an idiot, and that's fine.
Yeah. There's lots of different ways you can just be bad at things, various different types of things.
He notoriously does have a lot of shit go over his head. Like that
Yeah.
is that is a defining character trait of his. I do like because at the end of Mina Quest, Mina proves that you can change your god tier outfit. So people have done a lot of like some of the great things people do is like they redesign the god tier outfits. Like they have like fancy god tier outfits. They have a lot of like people who actually like mm, understand fashion and clothes and stuff have come up with a lot of neat ideas.
Mhm. Yeah.
But the short shorts were around before Jake because because we've seen like a version of other pages in their god tier outfits. So it's not like it was made specifically for Jake. It just does go in with the whole like
Just randomly assigned based on the random seeds of your game. Maybe. I don't know.
yeah. I think there's like a standard outfit and then you can just change it. I don't know. Maybe other people are better with delving into that lore. But I think there tends to be a standard outfit that then Mina tries to change. She just fucking hates the color of her shit. Hates the beige.
Yeah.
I don't know. This had a lot for me. Obviously, it's a big Dirk thing for me, but a lot of, I mean, all the alpha kids get more characterization in this. They have time to like talk about shit, and I really enjoy that. And I just, I love the intermission where Gamzee just gets riddled with bullets. And not even because I hate Gamzee, but because it's fucking funny. How are you feeling about, just a Homestuck check-in? How are you feeling about this whole thing? Are you regretting reading this with me, signing up for this big fucking project?
I'm not regretting reading it, and I will probably what I'll probably do afterwards is maybe rewatch the Read Homestuck thingy ding on YouTube at some point, like maybe on 1.5x speed, just to catch, like, that's something I want to do, is kind of go back and with all of the context see if I understand things better.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm still interested in seeing kind of the stuff that came after Homestuck. So I'm still like interested in it as a like kind of a cultural study, to a vast multimedia literary project, and then just seeing where this goes. But I'm always just like, how did Hussey write all this?
Yeah, that's a fair question because he was, for a while he was pumping these out just at insane rates.
Back when we were all younger and had more free time.
Well, at that time they were still like late 20s, I'm pretty sure. I don't know exactly how old they are. But yeah, I think they worked from home was a big part of it. And just any moment they weren't working, they were working on this. But there are a lot of things that I think would be fun to do to have you do with me. Some things I haven't done and some things I have that I think would be fun to make you do. Or not make, but like, because like we still have to do the second part of
Hive swap.
Hive Swap, yes, which we're probably going to do if you're free on 4/13, which is a Saturday.
Yeah.
We can do that then, which I think is when we did the first part. So a year between two halves of one game. That's not even Hive Swap Act 2, which is also a thing. But just this, because I kept meaning to do it again, and then you just did not happen.
Yeah, I'll make a note of it.
Cool. And then there's all the Hive Swap Friend Sim. Again, Hive Swap Act 2. There's Pester Quest, which we won't get into until after we read the epilogues, which people are so wild. Like, I've been learning more about, like, there are people who haven't read the epilogues, but have played Pester Quest, haven't read the epilogues, but have read Homestuck 2, which Domi is one of them. And we had this conversation. And I still don't super get it, but I get it more for her because she was around when the epilogues were coming out. So she heard a lot of the discussions around it that could provide some context to getting into Homestuck 2. I fucking hate Homestuck 2, but if we get to that point, I will read it. But anyway, yeah, no, I'm excited to do more stuff. There's just a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'll be able to do, I don't know. We would have to pick up the fucking pace on doing stuff if we want to start doing like Hive Swap Friend Sim and other stuff. Where do you want people to go to find your shit?
Moosad.itch.io and to find my video games.
Find Moosey's video games. Do you have the sand counter on there?
Sand counter? Oh no, that is pretty old. I don't have the source code for it. Oh, I was thinking of remaking a bunch of my old games, so I might redo that sort of thing. I'm currently looking at projects where I can kind of double or triple dip, such as if I stream myself making a game, then I can also make shorts of that game, that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's fun. Do you have like a Twitch or YouTube account you want to promote, or is that on something else?
Yeah, my YouTube is just, if you do youtube.com/ let's see. What is my YouTube?
I think you have links to that stuff on is it Rachel likes pizza or something?
Yeah, everything's on rachel.likespizza.com.
Cool. You can find my stuff. I have all the fucking links in the show notes, but you can find my newsletter at jaxyax.substack.com. I know Substack sucks, but I don't want to transfer. Fucking no one's in this newsletter. I don't want to make it even worse by switching to a different newsletter. It's Substack. I'm so sorry. I have an email. I don't know if people email stuff, but jaxiex@gmail.com is my email. I do have that linked on my website and stuff. The website is livelaughstuck.com for the podcast. I have jaxiex.com for general stuff. I have the fucking Discord. There's a link to the Discord in the show notes. You can come in there and chat. Someone recently joined who, and I don't know recently by the time this comes out, but recently for when we're recording joined, who likes my Dirt Cat Medieval AU that I need to get back to working on. I just have so many goddamn projects. Please, if you like Dirt Cat, please read my AU. It's a medieval AU. I have this whole world building. I have a religion. I have a mythology. I have countries and politics. It's insane. I have a magic system for my Dirt Cat AU. This is one I could legitimately file the serial numbers off of. But yeah, that's Bondless Prince, Bloodless Knight with a K. Because Dirk's a prince and Karkat's a knight. But I have that. I started to make a voice acting project for it, but that was like right before I went into my month-long, outpatient therapy. And so obviously that kind of dropped. I'd like to start that again. Maybe once I'm done with these fucking videos, I'll start doing Fake Gamer Bro. I'll start looking into starting the Doom timelines again. And I think I'll limit it to just those couple of projects so I don't fucking overwhelm my stuff just because I'm done with the videos. These goddamn videos. I hate editing videos. Why do they do this to myself? But anyway, I have links to everything in the description, and I just rambled a lot more than I intended to. So, maybe it's a good thing that you listen to this. If you're listening, hi, hello. But my normal outro will take care of the rest. See you next time.
Bye.
Thank you to Domi for composing the theme song and editing the episode. You can find more of her work at soundcloud.com/dominothief. Shout out to our fakest fan tier supporters, Danny the Spoonlord and Tezrak. You can become a supporter and receive early episodes and bonus content for as little as $1 a month over at kofi.com/jaxyax, or simply give a one-time tip. For information on and links to my other projects, head over to jaxyax.com. Thanks again for listening.